Good morning, everyone. Hello? Good morning, everyone. There we go. I suddenly thought, they can't hear me. I am Reverend Mary Marie Shelton, the Community Spiritual Leader here at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, and I'm happy to welcome all of you and those of you online. Thank you for being here with us this morning. This is our opportunity to welcome each other. So I'm going to invite you to stand and walk around and introduce yourselves to people you don't know, welcome folks back, and just generally make sure everybody gets a welcome. And those of you online, take a moment to pour yourself another cup of coffee or tea, and we'll be back in just a moment to sing the opening song. So get ready for a wonderful morning. All right, come on back and take your seats. This morning we have Nathan as well as our recorded music, and I want to let you know that we've just taken on somebody to assist me with scheduling of music, and the person who is doing that is bringing us local live professional musicians. So starting in September, we're going to have live music every week, but they won't be people that we know. They'll just be new people, and we'll be giving her feedback about who is perfect for us and so on and so forth, and who we want to see more of. And we're going to give this a test drive for about 6 months and see how we do. So we're looking forward to that. So this may be Nathan's last Sunday for a while, and he's doing an opening song that he wrote with a couple of other people that we have not sung before, but it's fairly simple. So I think you'll be fine with it. Just stand up. It has enough repetition that will come back around that you should be able to follow it just fine. It's not difficult. So here we go with Nathan.
Warm greetings, everyone. It's always a great pleasure for me to be with you at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. In honor of this month's theme, On the Wings of Love, and of today's theme, Forgiveness is My Path Forward, I'd like to kick things off with a song by Sue Riley, Glenn Rothell, and myself called It's Up to Me.
It's to be, if it's to be, if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, if it's to be, if it's to be, it's up to me. If I seek the truth, let me speak the truth. If I'm lost in doubt, let me believe. I know I can be the change I want to see. If it's to be, if it's to be, if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, if it's to be, if it's to be, it's up to me. If I'm tired and stressed, let me stop and rest. If I'm feeling hurt, let me forgive. I know I can be the change I want to see. If it's to be, if it's to be, if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, if it's to be, if I dream of peace, let me live in peace. When I start from love, I am love. I know I can be the change I want to see. If it's to be, if it's to be, if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, if it's to be, if it's to be, it's up to me. It's up to me. It's up to me. It's up to me.
All right, you may be seated. That's great. Thank you, Nathan. Yes. So now that we've said hello and sung together, this is our opportunity to join together intentionally in consciousness and prepare for the morning celebration. So our platform practitioner this morning, Rick Walt, is going to come and pray us in.
Good morning. So I invite each and every one of you to center in the way that you know best, to open your heart and open your mind to the One, to the Creator, to Spirit, to God, to Always, knowing indeed that each and every one of us is a glorious physical manifestation of God in form. Feel that. Know it, for it is the truth of who you are. And today, we open our hearts and minds to the words of our Blessed Reverend Mary about forgiveness, and that we should forgive ourselves as well. Knowing indeed that God is all that there is, that we are blessed to be here today in community. I am so grateful. Thank you, Mother, Father, God, for this opportunity to be at one with the Creator and to be in community as I do it. Thank you, Mother, Father, God, and together we say, and so it is.
I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Ho'oponopono. forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono.
And in case you don't know that, that is the Hawaiian word that encompasses all of those statements. I love you, thank you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, those four. And so that's appropriate for us this morning. Before I launch too far into the talk for today, as you know, August, our theme is on the wings of love, rising on the wings of love. And what I wanted to talk about today is forgiveness and why it is important for us to practice and to learn how to forgive. But before I do that, I want to talk about one of the things that I had to let go of this past weekend. When we were on our way to see the kids for our grandson's first birthday party. So as you know, I was away last weekend for that purpose. And we had decided we were just going to take the weekend, arriving, Saturday, being there for the party Sunday, coming home Monday, and we were going to fly out of the Santa Rosa airport to make it easy. And we had a 7 a.m. flight out of Santa Rosa. So we got up at 4:15. We left the house at 5:15, and at 5:30, we had just, heading north from Petaluma, we had just gone past the Rohnert Park Expressway. Now, as I was approaching the Rohnert Park Expressway, I was feeling like I wasn't steering well. It felt like I was a little, and then just about the time I was giving more thought to that, and we had a tire that exploded, basically, And so 5:30 in the morning, we're on the side of the road. There is nothing open at 5:30 in the morning, including trying to find a AAA tow truck. It just wasn't easy. But we finally got one, and we tried to figure out where we wanted to go because nothing was open, and we still wanted to try and get to Bellingham. So the guy towed us home. I was on the phone with my son. We were trying to figure out what we were going to do. Finally figured out we were going to get a flight out of San Francisco to Seattle. We're going to spend the night at Luke's dad and stepmom's house, which we've done often, and ride with them up to the party the next day. So we weren't going to be there with everybody on Saturday, but we were going to be there with everybody on Sunday. And it turned out to be a really successful day. This was the smash cake part of the party. And he likes to walk around with his hands up in the air. So every time Barrett does that, I say, touchdown. So anyway, we had a touchdown for the party, which was really good. And the rest of it was fine, and we got home on Sunday, no problem. But this sort of squeezed everything in a way that I wasn't prepared for, And when you really have your heart set on doing something a particular way, and it looks like it's all exploding around you, actually on Sunday night at my ex-husband's house, we're watching a little television program in the bedroom, on the Murphy bed, watching, and all of a sudden, the bed goes ka-thunk. No, we did not fold up into the wall, thankfully, but the legs on the end of the Murphy bed hadn't been pushed in enough, and so the bed collapsed, and I'm thinking, first my car blows up, then the bed explodes. Is somebody trying to tell me something about this trip? But it was fine. It turned out well. We all survived. We had a good laugh, and it gave me a story for you guys this morning. So today, I'm talking about the power of forgiveness, that forgiveness is really the path forward. I was thinking a little bit earlier about why would we as expressions of God be placed in a physical situation where we are subject to time and space, because God isn't subject to time and space. Really, that would be a limitation. So we have limited, there are days, there's a limited amount of time, we have aging, we have what we can and can't do within space as well as time. And it occurred to me that if we did not have the experience of being bounded by time and space, we probably wouldn't be motivated to do a bunch of stuff or really learn anything. But when you put a time limit on it, when you put space limitations on it, then our natural tendency to want to be creative and to learn comes forward, and we have to charge forward because we can only do it this way in space, or we only have this much time. Does this make sense? Now, I'm making this up. I don't know that that's why, but it seems to me like that could be a reason why we end up in this situation. So forgiveness, that can be easy in some situations and really nearly impossible for us in others. Why should we have to go through this process of letting go of something that hurt us or made us angry or conflicted with our values or upset us tremendously? And the reason is that, as Ernest Holmes said, our founder for Centers for Spiritual Living, said once, refuse to carry the corpse of a misbegotten yesterday. That when we are carrying around hurt and upset, when we're carrying around a grudge, we are weighed down. We are the ones who are experiencing an energy drain that's going toward maintaining this particular upset or grudge, which has happened but is over. The only way that we have a grudge about it is we keep carrying it. So we're continually re-injuring ourselves around that. So when we let it go, we are setting ourselves free. We're the first ones who benefit from that forgiveness, not the other person or group or whatever it is, we ourselves. It allows us to recenter in our peace of mind and to reclaim our energy. So that forgiveness becomes really essential to our own experience of wholeness in the world. That's the reason why it's useful. So the next question, which is a big one, is how do we do it? How do we forgive when we really were impacted by what was done that we felt hurt or upset by? And I can only tell you, it's a decision. It's a ripening. It's not something that just happens. We have to actually engage in it. And generally speaking, when we make a decision to forgive, it is not because we feel that the other person is remorseful or they have earned it or deserve it. It's usually not that. Usually when we make the decision to forgive, they may never know that we decided to do that because it really isn't about them. It's about us saying, I am letting this go so it no longer has any power over me. Are you with me here so far? So it happens because we decide, in the absence of any what seems like a rational reason, to give up the idea of punishing or vengeance or getting even or somebody getting what they deserve, like the law of cause and effect is going to get them, that kind of thing. It really is about letting go of all of that, letting go of attachment to what we think should happen, just letting go of that in order to set ourselves free. So we make the decision and then we forget. And it comes back to mind, and we feel all grumpy and upset and crabby about it again, and we have to make the decision again. So this is something that requires time and practice. It is true that there are occasions where you could forgive in an instant. You could decide and be done with it, but that's very rare. It's more often the case that it takes time, and we have to engage in that in order to reach it. And so the question then becomes, when are we going to do that? Well, we know now is really the only time there is. You can't forgive in the past. If you didn't do it, you didn't do it. You can't forgive in the future because it's not here yet. It might be an intention, but you might never get to it. The only time that it's really effective to make that decision is now, right now. American soldiers who were stationed in Korea back in the 50s would play pranks on their young houseboy. And one of the ones was they'd tie his shoelaces together. Well, they finally realized that this was not funny to him. This was not a laughing matter to him. And so they apologized. And the houseboy accepted their apology with a calm, sweet smile. And he said, "That's okay. I'll stop spitting in your soup now." So that is a commitment to forgiveness, okay? You're not going to torment me anymore. I'm not going to torment you anymore. But that's not actually forgiveness. That's about détente. That's about both sides saying, okay, truce. But in this case, what we want to do is not wait for the détente, not wait for the other person to get there, but decide for ourselves instead. Lewis Smedes said to forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner is you. And Alan Payton said, when a deep injury is done to us, we never recover until we forgive. So the question is, do we want to recover, or is it more important to us to hold on to the grudge and feel right and self-righteous about what was done and that something should be done about it? I'm not saying that we don't engage in seeking a resolution, but there is a difference in seeking a resolution from a place of anger and vengeance and seeking a resolution because we want to prevent that from happening to somebody else, perhaps. So let me give you an example. Take your right hand and raise your right hand and make a tight fist, a really tight fist. Hold it really tightly, like you're going to punch somebody, okay? Now, the longer you hold on to this, who's getting hurt? You are, yeah. Now let it go. Wiggle your fingers. See how relieved your hand feels? This is what forgiveness is like. It's taking that tightness of heart and deciding to let it go. At the beginning, the heart may soften just a little. But over time, more comes forward. Jack Canfield says forgiveness is not a feeling, it's a decision we make. And Nelson Mandela said, as I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. So how many of us are living lives imprisoned by the grudges that we're holding or the upsets that we're treasuring in some fashion? I want to share with you about some people who really, in my view, the fact that they could forgive or let themselves be forgiven is astounding to me. So the first one is a Jewish man, Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl survived the Nazi work and concentration camps and lost everyone in his family, his parents, his wife, his daughter. The only one who survived along with him was his sister, who had gotten out early. And she survived, of course. He survived the camps, but he also said, we who were in the camps know that the best of us did not survive. He was also a psychiatrist, and he developed what's called logotherapy. And the meaning of that is that our purpose as human beings is to discover the meaning of all of our experiences. So when he was in the concentration camps, he was looking for what was the meaning he could take from this that would be something to forward his life, not just how evil is what's happening to us and what's happening to these people. But there is a meaning here. What is it? And he worked with thousands of people after he got out of the camps, doing logotherapy for thousands of hours with them. He gave something back to the world out of this experience he had and giving it a meaning, letting go of the tremendous pain of it, which I find astounding. So there's a Jewish man who went through this experience. Then we have Immaculée Ilibagiza, who survived the Rwandan genocide. Now, this genocide was a false flag operation in the sense that the Hutus and the Tutsis, the two groups, had been arbitrarily divided up by the people that occupied the country, so that the light-skinned people were the favored ones and the darker-skinned people were not. The Hutus were the darker-skinned ones. So when their government began to tell them that everything was the fault of the Tutsis, just like in Germany, where everything was the fault of the Jews, this Christian Catholic woman found herself in hiding. Her family was murdered, except for one brother. Her family was murdered by neighbors of theirs that were friends of their families. They had known them all their lives. They had helped one another in their village. Her family was Tutsis. Some of these neighbors were Hutus. And she found herself in a local pastor's home with 7 other women, hiding in a tiny bathroom that was like off the master bedroom, with a cupboard blocking the door, just like Anne Frank in back in Amsterdam. They were there for 91 days, these 7 women. They couldn't all sit down at the same time. And they were all relatively young women, so not to put too fine a point on it, but being someplace for 3 months meant everybody had to deal with their natural cycles in this little tiny room. If they had to go to the bathroom, they had to move around so that people could do that. They couldn't flush the toilet during certain hours. And the little scraps of food the minister was able to give to them was not much, but it was enough to keep them alive. They were emaciated by the time they came out of that little bathroom after 91 days. And everybody they knew had been macheted to death. These were not easy deaths. I want to read something from her book, Left to Tell. This is toward the end of the book. After the bloodbath is over, and one of the soldiers said to her, "Do you want to meet the leader of the gang that killed your mother and brother?" "Yes, sir, I do." Samana, the man's name, crossed a courtyard to the prison cell and then returned, shoving a disheveled, limping old man in front of him. I recognized the man instantly. His name was Felicien, and he was a successful Hutu businessman whose children I had played with in primary school. He'd been a tall, handsome man who always wore expensive suits and had impeccable manners. I shivered, remembering that it had been his voice I'd heard calling out my name when the killers searched for me at the pastor's house. Felicien had hunted me. His dirty clothing hung from his emaciated frame in tatters. His once handsome face was hidden beneath a filthy matted beard, and his bare feet were covered in open running sores. I wept at the sight of his suffering. I was overwhelmed with pity for the man. I reached out, touched his hands lightly, and quietly said what I'd come to say. "I forgive you." My heart eased immediately, and I saw the tension release in Felicien's shoulders. When Samana returned, he was furious. "How could you do that? Why did you forgive him?" I answered him with the truth. Forgiveness is all I have to offer. One of the things that she did in that little tiny bathroom for 91 days was pray. As a devout Catholic, she prayed to Jesus and she thought about the teachings of Jesus every day. And she knew in her heart that Jesus called upon us to forgive. But she was terrified for her life. She was struggling against her anger and her hatred, knowing that her family had been killed. But as she stayed in that consciousness of staying connected and praying to Jesus, she had the most incredible spiritual experiences of connection with the infinite, of being loved, of being cared for. And she knew that what she had to do was be able to forgive, to let go. This was not long after she was released that she came face to face with this man and told him that she forgave him. How was she able to do that? It emerged out of this deep spiritual connection she had made with the God of her understanding. And she wrote the book Left to Tell because of Wayne Dyer, who heard her telling her story and was attracted to her and her story and made it possible and wrote the introduction to the book. I can't imagine what she went through and how she reached that point of forgiveness. And then we have Ishmael Bey. And Ishmael was born in Sierra Leone the same year as my son. When the tremendous war broke out between the rebels and the government, the same kind of thing was going on. When he and his brother and his cousin and some other boys went to another town to perform in a talent show, all they had with them was their boombox and what they were wearing and a little bit of money. And while they were gone, their village was raided by the rebels and burned, and everybody died. So their parents were gone, their grandmother was gone. They were with nowhere to go. They were just loose in the world. Ishmael was 12. Eventually, he got separated from everybody. Things happened. He got separated from everybody. He was completely alone in the jungle for more than a month, trying to protect himself by climbing trees from wild boars and other animals and snakes. He was all alone. When he was 13, so a year later, he'd been running from the rebels and from the fighting for a year. He had walked through villages where people were in pieces, were bleeding, where villages had been burned. This kid saw things so horrendous that he had nightmares and PTSD. He couldn't feel his feet when he was walking. At 13, he was found by the government army. Now, you'd think that maybe the government army would protect these boys. No. They were all collected by the army. They were indoctrinated. They were brainwashed, essentially, into seeing the rebels as non-human. They were drugged. They were given AK-47s. They killed people. They burned villages. They killed a lot of people. When he was 16, UNICEF and the UN came in and they collected these young boys from the government army and began to rehabilitate them. They were drug addicted. They were enraged. They were still committed to killing. They were tremendously violent. He was 16 years old. He had been actively in the war doing this for 3 years. So when he got into this rehab facility, he didn't trust anyone. They fought with each other all the time, these boys. And people kept saying to him, after he did these horrendous things, they would say to him, "It's not your fault that you think this way. It's not your fault that you react this way." And they forgave him again and again, and they kept working with these boys. They kept teaching them. They kept training them. They kept giving them things. They kept appealing to them. Now, this was a boy from a Muslim family. So we have a Jew, a Christian, a Muslim, all three experiencing horrors that would give anybody PTSD for the rest of their lives. He had to learn how to forgive himself for what he had done. And it was the people around him and their understanding of what these boys had been through and their patience and their kindness that helped them. Ishmael said, and this is in his book, A Long Way Gone, he says, "When I was very little, my father used to say, 'If you are alive, there is hope for a better day and something good to happen. If there is nothing good left in the destiny of a person, he or she will die.'" And he says, "I thought about these words during my journey, and they kept me moving even when I didn't know where I was going. Those words became the vehicle that drove my spirit forward and made it stay alive." He moved to the United States in 1998, partly because the war was continuing, and some of the boys he knew in the UNICEF facility had wound up back in the Army because their families refused to take them back. He finished the last 2 years of high school at the UN International School in New York City, where people asked him, "Did you see any of the fighting? Did you experience any of what went on?" He didn't want to tell them what he had done. He graduated from Oberlin College in 2004 and is a member of Human Rights Watch Children's Rights Division Advisory Committee and has spoken at many NGO panels on children affected by war and at the UN. This is what he says about why he does it and what his experience is.
The war started in my country and I knew about it, but then when it reached my part of the country, I didn't think I would be drawn into it. And then all of a sudden my life collapsed completely. I lost my community, I lost people who were dear to me, I lost a sense of belonging. And I lost my childhood completely. And then my life went into war. And in war, you don't really plan for a future because you plan for simple moments. You survive this minute, maybe you survive the next minute. So basically, my life then went from somebody who had planned for a future, wanted to be an economist and all of these things, to now just hoping I would survive the next day, right? And then after I was removed from the war, I went to the center to recover. It was also very difficult to believe in anything because I've seen so many things collapse around me. It was difficult to hope or to believe in the future, you know? And so really, I think what I did was then to begin to re-believe in humanity again, in my own humanity and the humanity of those who were trying to help me as well. As I went back and looked at my own life, I realized the people that had been part of the UNICEF program that removed me from war, the people that had worked at the center where I was recovering, the nurses that were there, the worker that checked on me even after I'd left the center to do follow-up on me. So I realized all these people didn't have to do those things, you know, but the fact that they chose to do them, they chose to contribute to humanity in whatever way they could, it changed something for me, the direction of my life. So I thought to myself, all right, what can I give back to the world? What it is that I can give after having survived such a thing. I could have gone on and never spoken about it, but then I thought to myself, well, what about those that I've left behind? What about those other young people coming from other parts of the world? How would they believe the way that people who had given their life to this organization, or to basically reigniting my humanity again? How can I be part of that? So this is really what drove me to lend my story, put a face to the experience, so people can see not only how people are dragged into violence and they lose their childhood and they lose their communities and their country, but also how they can come out of it.
That's Ishmael. He wrote the book when he was 26, and he's now 45, married with children himself. When I was in the church in Santa Rosa, I met Gail. And at the time, Gail was in therapy and was studying A Course in Miracles and started taking courses from me and Reverend Carol at the church in Santa Rosa where we were serving at the time. Gail had quite a story. Her 19-year-old daughter had been brutally murdered because she happened to be in the wrong place. The fellow who murdered her had actually come to confront her boyfriend and kill him. He wound up killing them both. And Gail had other children, but she was consumed with rage, with grief, so terrible she couldn't bear it. She wanted this killer, who was caught and was in prison, she wanted him to be executed. She thought that she would feel better if he were simply gone, because she kept thinking about all the things her daughter would never experience. She'd never get married, she'd never have children, she'd never finish her degree. And she could not let it go. So she was in therapy where her therapist kept telling her she needed to forgive or it was going to consume her. She was studying A Course in Miracles where the message was about forgiveness. And then she started taking classes at the church in Santa Rosa where we were saying about the importance of forgiveness. So, against her better judgment, she wrote a letter to the guy in prison. And she said, I have been studying and learning about my God self. And so I want you to know that I had a beautiful daughter who will never do any of these things now. And I want to let you know I forgive you. Do not expect me to advocate for your release. I'm not going to do that. Let the courts do what they do. But if you want me to, I will visit you. And he wrote back to her and said, you can't imagine what your letter, the effect your letter had on me. I have prayed for this. And I too have been studying and learning about my God self. I would never expect you to advocate for me. I cannot tell you how painful it is to know that I cause so much pain to other people and other families. And I would be honored if you would visit me. So she went to see him. They began to exchange letters. She became like a mother figure for him in prison. She began to understand the life he had led, the addictions he experienced, the mental illness that he was struggling with. And what happened was that Gail began to heal. She has passed away now, but she went through her life speaking to groups of parents of murdered children. And once upon a time, a woman came up to her afterwards and said, well, clearly, you didn't love your daughter as much as I loved my child. And somebody that was there with Gail said, how could she say that to you? And Gail said, let her be. I've been exactly where she is. I know exactly the pain she's feeling. She has to move on her own when she's ready, but I understand where she is. I don't hold anything against her for that. She became an advocate for forgiveness, a living example, like Ishmael, for the people that she spoke to about the power of the freedom of forgiveness. And so I think about this. How much do we have to forgive? If I took everything in my life that I've ever felt angry or hurt by, and I put it in one lump, it wouldn't equal one day of what those folks have gone through. And yet they found their way through to forgiveness. Whatever our reasons are for hanging on to stuff, hurt feelings, upset, anger, whatever those reasons are, both in our own lives and with our country and in the world, we need to learn how to forgive. Not to say it's all okay, but to say I am disconnecting from this upset having power over me, because I cannot take action that is effective from a place that desires vengeance and punishment. All I'm doing is becoming what I say I'm upset about. And so my job then is to let go of the upset and look at what I can do to be effective from a neutral place, because that will be much more effective in the long run. The last demonstration that I was at with Amanda, one of the things that we were told again and again was to refrain from confrontations and being angry, and to bring love and joy into this experience with all the people, to be respectful of those who were trying to make sure that we were safe, and to police the area, not to do anything bad to us, but just to make sure everybody was okay with what they needed to do. And it was a very uplifting experience. It wasn't this, it was this. This is who we are, this is what we believe, this is what we stand for, we ain't budging. And Ernest Holmes says, if we hold a grudge, we bar ourselves from the highest expression of our divine nature. God never hates, nor does God hold feelings of bitterness toward any person. Thus, the grudge holder is trying to express God and something else, which is impossible. Spirit is not cut up in little sections. No one can say, I will accept God's healing but not express God's love. Since spirit is indivisible, the person who refrains from expressing God's love will be unable to accept God's health. Therefore, we should express love, for love is the fulfilling of the law. When we look at people right now in the world who are doing things that we think are horrendous, do we really know what their story is, where that came from, what fears and pain motivate that kind of behavior? And if we knew those stories, even though we still persist in our desire to stop that behavior, just like with Ishmael, would we not feel compassion for whatever contributed to them seeing the world the way that they do, which has got to be awful? This is me saying what I think, but I'm sharing with you something that is fundamental to our teaching, not from a place of embodying it perfectly, but from a place of this is what we're here for. This is what we're here to do. And it's not easy. But we are called to let it go, and take action from a balanced place. Raymond Charles Barker, one of the early religious scientists, said, all forgiveness is self-forgiveness. Your world is the result of your combined state of your thought and feeling, your area of consciousness. If your world is the result of your state of consciousness, then if you hate anyone, you are disliking a part of yourself. And Joan Borisenko said, I don't believe I've ever met a person who hasn't been challenged or wounded by something. Difficulties present choices. We can either waste away from our wounds or use them to grow our souls. The process of making sense of our wounds is a very personal one, but a common theme in wound healing is the universal need to forgive. If we don't forgive ourselves for our mistakes and others for the wounds they've inflicted upon us, we end up crippled with guilt. And the soul cannot grow under a blanket of guilt, because guilt is isolating, while growth is a gradual process of reconnection to ourselves, to other people, and to the larger whole. So when I look at the work that all these people have done to bring a message to us, they have been through hell, pretty much literally, and brought a message forward to us to say, no matter who you are, no matter what you've experienced, if you want to get free of that, if you want to remove the weight of the PTSD on you, the first thing, or one of the first things we have to do is practice forgiving, practice letting go, a little bit at a time, just a little bit at a time, over and over and over and over again. And it might be the most important thing we will do in our lives. I'll just leave us with that. Namaste. Thanks. Now let's go ahead and turn within. The infinite presence of God, unlimited, the essence of which is love, permeates this place. We breathe it in knowing that we are made from this very energy, from this infinite, no exceptions, love. And as we are made from it, the divine presence within us is the presence that sees through all of the agony that we have experienced individually and leads us forward into a greater light where none of that affects us anymore or is even important. We step forward into that light recognizing that we are responding to the light that we are, the presence of love that God is right where we are. And we surrender into that, allowing it to lead us forward in our lives into greater freedom, greater peace of mind and ease of heart, into greater and more immediate levels of forgiveness of self and others, stepping forward in faith that that divine presence that invites us into the light, into more love, sees through our hurts and our pains and our difficulties to the truth of the light, that divine bright light within us. So we turn our faces to that light and away from the shadows that have plagued us, and we invite forgiveness to make its home in us now. I know that as this occurs, it lightens our spirit. It brings forward more encouragement, more love of life, more desire to create and share and set others free. So we take this as a blessing, and we allow this work to take place in us right now for our greatest healing and our highest good. And with gratitude, we simply surrender this prayer into the divine heart of God, where it always has been the truth of us and humanity, into the creative law through which everything is brought into being. We let it go now to do its work within us of healing and wholeness and revealing of peace and love and freedom. And together we say, and so it is. Please stand and join me for the morning affirmation. Together. Forgiveness is more powerful and lasting than old hurts and resentments. Forgiveness sets me free. So I choose to forgive myself and others quickly because I prefer my freedom. And so it is. You may be seated. Would the ushers please come forward? This is our sacred giving time. If you're online with us this morning and you want to make a contribution, we would bless and love that. And you can do that by texting the dollar amount you want to give to the number on the screen. That's also true for you here in this room. We are going to bless all the gifts that are being given today and all the ones that have been given in this past week, whether financial or prayer or service. And we're also going to bless each other because we too are the gift. So I invite you now to put your hands over your heart with your gift if you're giving a financial gift today. And we will bless this as we say out loud together this offering blessing. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is.
In this time and in this place is the grace to love with these hands and with this heart. I can start to love, to love, to love, to love. I've been bruised and I've been burned. Still I yearn to love. So I'll forgive and I'll forget, pay my debt to love, to love, to love, to love. Because love is all there is, ever was and will be. I may win and I may lose, still I'll choose to love. I may stand and I may fall, still I will give all to love, to love, to love, to love, to love.
Mhm. So all of us here, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, accept this offering with love, and we send it out into the world to seed more forgiveness, everywhere it goes. And so it is. All right, if you are here with us for the very first time this morning, I want to draw your attention to the welcome table back here. You can pick up all the flyers and things that are out there for yourself, but please do get yourself a welcome packet. Those are the ones in the envelopes. Take the blue card out of the envelope and fill it out, give it to Amanda back there, and she's going to give you a little book. And if you were here a couple weeks ago when we didn't have any little books and you were here for the first time, go tell her, she'll give you one. I promise. You go ahead and get one anyway. All right. Excuse me, can you mute me for a second? I want to thank everybody who was here to set up today and make this wonderful. Let's acknowledge all these people and thank them for doing that. You will find a collection of kaleidoscopes over here on the altar. Those are not to take. They're part of a collection, but the Frost family brought those to show changing perspectives. So please take a look at those. I am doing a foolhardy thing. Starting So this membership class begins today and is 3 Sundays in a row. I know I didn't give people a chance to sign up, so if you're not a member and you want to participate in this, come and talk to me this morning. If you're online and you'd like to be a member here and you didn't know about this, send me an email right now at revmary, R-E-V-M-A-R-Y, all one word, at ggcsl.org. And just let me know. I'll send you the link and we'll take it from there. If I don't have anybody, I'll rethink it. But I wanted to squeeze it in before we get started on our fall commitment program. And so that's why I stuck it in here at the last minute. So we'll see if it works. And we might have new members. And if not, oh well, I'll reschedule and do it again later. I apologize for being flaky, but there you have it. Also, we are starting an attitudinal healing group. This is going to be taking place beginning September 12th, or 11th. Yeah, September 11th, from 4 to 6 p.m. If you're interested, this is a small group that's starting, and it is comes out of the Center for Attitudinal Healing, and Lynn Law, who is our vice president, was one of the early facilitators of these attitudinal healing groups for the center. She did them for quite a long time in connection with Jerry Jampolsky. And so if you want to talk to Lynn about this, she's right over here. Give us a wave, Lynn, so we know. You can talk to her, ask her questions about that. Sign-ups are back here on the activity table. If you're interested in participating, please sign up. It's from 4 to 6 p.m. For 6 weeks, is that right? For 6 weeks, and beginning September 11th. Also, I'm going to be offering a foundations class. If you haven't taken foundations in a while, it might be a good idea to review it. Just come back to our basics once again. If you've never taken foundations, that's the class that's a prerequisite for all the other Science of Mind classes that we teach. It's a 10-week class. It'll be on Zoom, and I'm doing it during the day. So it'll be from 3 to 6 in the afternoon, which might be easier for some people to do. And it will be on Zoom. There will be one Saturday where we do an online workshop, and that is Saturday, October 11th. So registration is going to open up on the website very soon, probably in this next week or so. So I just want to let you know that's coming. And also, one of the things that we're getting ready to do, along with our fall commitment program, is a book study. And the book study is on how to use the science of mind. It's a small book of Ernest Holmes about applying the science of mind. And it takes you through the way in which we do that. And so this book study will give you, with a group of people in homes, different people's homes, will give you an opportunity to talk with each other about what you think it means and how you would apply it, and have discussion questions. We're providing a facilitator outline, so if you're hosting, you'll know what the questions are to ask, and if you get through all of them, great, but if you only get through the first one, it's also fine. If you're willing to have a group in your home, you can sign up to do that back on the activity table and say how many you have room for in your home, and we'll get that figured out. We'll start signing up our participants in the middle of September. So right now we're just getting the facilitator host part of it signed up. And you might want to go ahead and purchase your book now. This particular book has come out 2 or 3 different times, and the pages are different, but the chapters are the same. So the chapters are relatively short. When you get the outline with the chapters, pay attention to that, not the page numbers, because your page numbers, if you have an older copy of this, might not match. Okay, but if you want this one, it's available now from shop.csl.org/new-releases. So now, I want to remind you, practitioners are available after the service for prayer. And would our practitioners now please surround the room as we pray everybody out? Sorry this was long. I just couldn't give up any of my examples, so I talked a long time, and I hope you can forgive me. All right. Let's take a moment now to turn within and bless this beautiful day. As we do so, we accept this wonderful day as a gift, and we step out into it with greater freedom, peace of mind, and tenderness of heart, letting go of old hurts and stepping into this day as a beautiful, fresh, new experience, allowing us to go forward in love and freedom. And for this, we're so grateful. Together we say, and so it is. Yes. All right. Please stand and join me for the closing blessing and song now. As we say together, I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. And here's our closing.
Thanks very much, everyone, for being here this morning. I'd like to take us out with a great song by Eddie Watkins Jr. called You and Me.
One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out, I'm so happy, I just wanna shout. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out, I'm so happy, I just wanna shout. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life, one life, one love, one life, one life, one love, one life, one life, one love. Ooh. One life, one life, one love, one life, one life, one love, one life, one life, one love. Ooh. I'm shining from the inside out, I'm so happy, I just wanna shout. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is.